Hello and welcome to the channel. Here's my long overdue video on Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I've been playing this since launch, but I didn't want to put up a knee-jerk video until I'd spent some considerable time with it. I wanted to see how it stood the test of time, what longevity it had, what the online events were like, how often characters would be added, and so on. Then life got in the way and here we are like 3.5 months later, and I'm only just getting round to it now. But better late than never, eh? I'm not going to fanny around with a lengthy intro this time, but I will say if you enjoy the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new and enjoy the content. Anyway, it's the first Sonic racing game since 2019's forgettable budget title, Team Sonic Racing. Is it another one of those, or is it more akin to 2012's superb Sonic and Sega Racing Transformed? Let's find out. First of all, there's no storyline this time around for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. It's just basically Donpa from Team Sonic Racing wanted to test out some of his new vehicles via the medium of some racing tournaments, and it's open to anyone who wants to get involved, whether that be friend, foe, or random character from another universe. We'll get into that shortly. The main gimmick of this game, and something I think is really impressive, is the Crossworlds mechanic, where the second lap of each race transports you to another world at random. These worlds are unique single-lap stages which you teleport to using ring travel, similar to that seen in the Sonic movies, or Sonic 1 if you're as old as I. This seamless transition between worlds is very cool, especially when you warp from somewhere pretty mellow like, say, the Sonic Superstars stage, to the absolute chaos of Kraken Bay. It keeps each race somewhat unpredictable and exciting. It's a brilliant mechanic. If I had to criticize one part of it though, it's that you eventually unlock the normal main courses to act in the same way as the Crossworlds, by which I mean the regular tracks are randomly sandwiched into lap 2 in place of a dedicated Crossworlds track, which on the one hand prevents exhaustion from playing the same stages too often, but as the main tracks are often less of a spectacle than the Crossworlds one, I'm not sure if this was the right move or not. Also, maybe it's just me, but I seem to get this fucking stage a disproportionate amount of times when compared to the others. Very cool mechanic though, and a first for kart racers. So we're off to a strong start. In terms of characters then, we get a huge selection of Sonic regulars, alongside a bunch of other Sega characters, such as Ichiban from Like a Dragon, or Knights from, well, Knights. And then characters from other IPs such as Spongebob, a Minecraft creeper, and most recently at the time of recording, Pac-Man. And more of these are being added over time alongside new stages which are purchasable through a season pass. And some of these characters, such as Knights, are free content, which is nice. All of these races have different classes such as speed, power, handling and so on, as do the masses of customizable vehicle options available. These can be mixed and matched according to your preferred playing style. Wanna stick Charmy B, a nimble acceleration, I believe, type character in a massive power-based construction vehicle? Want to stick Eggman on a dainty little hoverboard?
It's up to you.
The stats of these characters and vehicles can be further adapted with gadgets, essentially gizmos you equip to your cart to add different buffs such as faster drift charges or better grip while driving off-road, or don't lose your rings when you collide with another player. There's a lot to mix and match before finding your preferred style of play. And this is where I ran into my first relatively minor issue with Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Until I found the correct combination of character, vehicle and gadgets to fit my playstyle, I found the controls to be a little loose. I was slamming into walls, veering off-road and colliding with other vehicles constantly. It must be what it feels like to drive home after an office Christmas party. It is perhaps for this reason that it doesn't feel as immediately accessible as, say, Mario Kart World control-wise, as you need to invest more time to find what works for you. Once you work out what works best for your playstyle, it's great. I guess it just makes it slightly less pick up and play than its rival. That said, I suppose it is just as easy to play if you have the auto steering assist mode on, the game's default. If you're the kind of nutter who likes bowling with the bumpers up, that is. But I'd recommend against it. There are sections of the track dedicated to driving, sailing in a boat, and flying, like in Racing Transformed. And whereas it does control well on land and in the air, I find the boat-in sections a little bit fiddly. You can't drift around corners when on water, you see. So instead of drifting around tight bends, you sort of ride or tap the accelerator, letting go entirely at times. And in certain courses such as Eggman Expo, I find myself slamming into the edges of the watery parts of the course about half the time. This water-based steering method also means fighting against your every instinct to hold the drift button like you do elsewhere on the tracks. It's okay, it works, but I find the boat-in sections to be the least fun and most awkward to control. Going back to the kart customization real quick, you can customize the parts, colors, and decals of your chosen vehicle to your heart's content, which is a nice touch. I've seen a great mix of impressive creativity and hilarious eyesores while playing online, and it's always nice to see what incredibly cool or eye-wateringly ugly abominations other players have cooked up while waiting in the lobby before an online match. These customized parts are unlocked with Donpa tickets that you get from racing, completing challenges, and so on. But don't expect to unlock things very quickly. Donpa is a stingy fucker when it comes to dishing out said coveted paper tokens. Being a kart racer, you obviously have weapons coming out the wazoo, and generally speaking, I found them to be pretty well balanced. There are red and green boxing gloves, which are essentially the red and green shells from Mario Kart, King Boom Boom, who I guess is the game's blue shell, or maybe that would be these weights that crush the first and second place players. I don't know. A shield, the ability to transform into a monster truck and squash your opponents, the list goes on. Like I said, they feel pretty well balanced and are fun to use. They do a good job of keeping all the players pretty close together on the track too. I think my main criticism is why are so many of them just generic things, rather than something more Sega specific? Why aren't the boxing gloves, I don't know, a Neutron or a Jaws Badnik with the appropriate green and red color scheme? Why isn't the shield the usual Sonic bubble shield instead of this generic one? Nitpicking perhaps, but I don't understand the reasoning behind it. There's a wisp or two here and there though, so if that's your thing, then that'll be nice for you. You can enjoy a couple of wisps as you race. Let's talk game modes here then, and there's a fair amount of them. You get your standard Grand Prix consisting of 3 tracks, plus the second Crossworlds track in the middle. Then a final race where you race 1 lap of each of these courses in order, linked via said Crossworlds ring. Then there are time trials which show you the most optimal routes with the aim to beat the target times to acquire a rank. Then there's Race Park, a selection of different objective type races such as grab as many rings as possible or dish out as much damage on your rivals as possible. And many of these are team-based races, which takes the team mechanics from Sonic Team Racing and brings them back here. With great success, I'd say. These are all a lot of fun and add some welcome variety, forcing you to adapt your racing style to the current objective. And a lot of these modes carry over into the game's online mode during festivals and special events, which I'd say is a good segue into that actually. Online mode is what you'd expect. Single races connected via a lobby where you vote on your track of choice and spam a limited number of emotes and your horn while also admiring the custom vehicles of other racers while you wait. I have no complaints here. The online mode works well. The ranking system gives you a sense of progression, wait times between races are reasonable, and I had no discernible issues with online play. It's a fun time. Where I feel it excels though is with the events. For example, when new races or courses are released and they have a festival for a few days. It's here that the objective-based races from Race Park come into the online play, and I always welcome it when one of these events takes place, as it really mixes things up. Plus, the unlockable awards, decals, titles, etc. add a sense of purpose and objective to the whole thing, and keeps me hooked for the duration of the festival. What about the tracks then? I'll talk more about the specific courses in the visual sections, but I will say for most part they are really well designed with multiple routes and shortcuts to master, some of which really make you question the risk versus reward based on their difficulty to pull off. And there's a nice amount of variety here as the racers traverse land, sea and air. They all have their own obstacles and gimmicks too, for example racing through a dinosaur stampede during Dinosaur Jungle, being blown around an icy track in Blizzard Valley, shit kicking off during a Night at the Museum-esque third lap of Wonder Museum, where all the exhibits come to life, or a multi-layered race around the different floors of Colourful Mall. All of these elements help the courses to feel unique, even if some, such as the disappearing pumpkins and invisible track in Pumpkin Mansion, do drive me up the wall at times. Anyway, the tracks are great for most part and each feel unique, but let's discuss that more in the visuals section. Visuals then, and I think it's pretty damn good. On the Microslop Series X, which I'm playing it on, pretty sure I'm the last person still using that platform at this point, it runs at a solid 60 frames per second and, I don't know, is it 4K? 2K resolution maybe? I can't tell, but it's super fast and looks sharp as fuck to me on my big posh TV. There's a lot of visual spectacle to the whole thing, particularly with sequences like Kraken Bay, which sees you racing around some sinking pirate ships that are being attacked by a massive squid. It's the literal stuff of nightmares for me, and my single greatest fear whenever I set foot on a boat, but it makes for a hell of a visual spectacle, strictly within the confines of a video game. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on here, with big monsters and other set pieces, which make the courses feel like you're on some kind of wild Sega theme park ride, with weapons. The courses on offer all look great, and that's something we'll dive into deeper now. Overall, track selection is solid. Sega have caught a lot of shit in recent years from the overuse of Green Hill Chemical Plant and Sky Sanctuary, for example, and as a result, this game's Sonic courses are mostly a series of deep cuts from the series' history, such as Digital Circuit from Shadow the Hedgehog, Water Palace from Sonic Rush, and the previously mentioned Kraken Bay being adapted from Sonic and the Secret Rings. Hardly obvious picks for a Sonic racing game. It's pretty impressive stuff. All of the courses here are fun to play too, but I do feel it's odd that in an effort to avoid using the obvious Sonic staples, we're left with some more bizarre inclusions, like Casino Forest from the stinking dud that was Sonic Forces. Admittedly, it's a great looking track that is fun to play, but it's an odd game to highlight. The cynical part of me thinks it's because Sega had the assets for it, and it was an easy one to turn around, rather than make fucking Studiopolis from scratch or something. And while every track is well designed and fun to play from a gameplay standpoint, I find some of them to be thematically boring. Like, Colourful Mall is just a mall with some wisp balloons dotted around the place. Donpar's Factory is a car factory. Crystal Mine is a generic mine. And Steampunk City is just a steampunk setting for some reason. It could be a nod to the Machine Labyrinth from Sonic Rush Adventure, and it probably is, but I still stand by the following point. None of the ones I mentioned really scream Sonic to me, and if you saw them in pre-release screenshots with the characters removed, you'd never guess it was a Sonic game. I mean, why wouldn't it be, I guess if you wanted to go obscure, at least something like Eggman Nega's Steampunk City, where you have a cross-world reimagining of Eggman Land but with steampunk-style badniks, or what have you. And you could apply this to a bunch of the courses here. Blizzard Valley, Aqua Forest, Golden Temple. What are these places in relation to Sonic and Sega? Perhaps they're such incredibly deep-cut Sega references that they've flown over my head. It is possible, but I don't think so. Other courses absolutely nail it though. Pumpkin Mansion is a nice mashup of Pumpkin Hill from Sonic Adventure 2 and the Invisible Road from Hang Castle in Sonic Heroes, which, while being a unique stage, is clearly inspired by instantly recognizable Sonic iconography. Is that the word? It's the same deal with Sand Road, which mashes together Sandopolis and elements of the Sonic Forces pyramid stage to create a unique but distinctly modern Sonic-y experience. Look, I feel I've gone off on one a bit here. Overall, all the stages are good, but I wish they'd put more effort to make some of them a bit more Sonic-y or Sega-y. By the way, the DLC courses at the time of recording, which are Minecraft, Bikini Bottom, and Pac-Man, have all been excellent. Well worth the money. I'm happy with that Season Pass purchase. Other visual elements then, and the character models here are on point, can't fault them, and the vehicles look great too. I should mention that the game has a rival system, where basically a random other racer is assigned as your rival throughout a GP. The characters smack talk each other in short cutscenes at the starting line and during the races themselves, and I found this to be so effective in getting me to really go gunning for these fuckers during the Grand Prix. I'd go out of my way to smash them with everything in my arsenal. It was really effective in getting me fired up, wanted to take them down. Anyway, the aforementioned cutscenes showcase some pretty nice animations on the characters during the interactions too. If I had to include some truly petty, minor visual gripes, it would be the inclusion of some 2D sprites used to make up the crowds of the Chow and other background elements here and there, such as the big flags being waved around. These are mostly blink and you miss it moments, but if I had to nitpick, I'd say that 1, they look crap, and 2, their frame rates don't match with the 60 FPS versions, so they do look a little bit jarring. Not that you'll notice when you're racing around at 10 million miles per hour. Also, there are certain points during the Crossworlds sections where Donpar will announce a frenzy, and sometimes the visual effects of bloom, speed lines, and blurring can create a sensation akin to playing a migraine. But I do feel it's been toned down since the open network test and beta versions, so it's at least a more manageable migraine now. Visually very good, providing you aren't playing the Switch 1 version. Audio is mostly on point here too. Firstly, there are strong voice acting performances all around from the cast during the many humorous interactions between Sonic and company. It's great to see some of the characters interact in-game for the first time, and there are plenty of great throwbacks and silly moments too, such as Vector still thirsting for Cream's mother. While we're on this subject though, I should mention that the DLC characters are all silent. It's something to do with legal bullshit relating to the usage of non-Sonic characters, I'm sure. which I'm sure is a minefield to navigate, but whatever the reasoning, it's still weird as fuck to have two characters like Spongebob and Patrick in the game, two characters who famously never shut the fuck up, sitting there in complete silence. What's even weirder is that some of the Sega-owned characters, such as Ichiban Kasuga and the Werehog, it's a fucking Sonic character, don't speak either. I'm sure it's some cost-saving measure, paying voice actors and what have you, but given the premium price of the game, I think they should have tried to work something out here, at least for the Sega characters. Soundtrack-wise, it's a selection of absolute bangers, whether it's the original compositions such as E-Stadium, or some absolutely fantastic remixes and reimaginings of past Sonic game tracks. They're all on fire, and I mean that in a good way. I adore this soundtrack. The third lap of each track takes each of these songs and gives them an extra hard kick up the arse to deliver a more intense, amped up version of each piece to add to the pressure of the final lap. A really, really strong soundtrack. I also wanted to point out my appreciation for some of the absolutely insane bass lines going on in some of this music. And the sax solo at the end of Cyberspace is a chef's kiss gesture. Struggle to say that then. Sound effects are on point here and very much what you would expect, but if I had to criticize one aspect of the audio, it would be that the developers have seemingly added some sort of light compression to the whole thing for whatever reason. Meaning the songs, sound effects and everything else sort of gets squeezed together. From my perspective, it was a weird thing to do. I'm sure there was a reason for it, and I don't think it's as severe as it was at launch or during the open network test. Or maybe I've just gotten used to it. I don't know. Minor issue though. Overall, my feelings on Crossworlds are very much positive. It has a great and ever-expanding character selection, some nicely designed courses, even if I do feel the settings of some of them are a bit dull, and a great soundtrack, as well as reasonably balanced weapons system that manages to tread the line between hilariously chaotic fun that keeps the race tight and soul-crushingly deflating unfair last-second defeats. Control-wise, it's a little more murky as you really need to find out what works best for you. For example, in Mario Kart, I can play as anything from a Koopa Trooper up to Bowser and still fare pretty well most of the time, whatever kind of racer I choose. In Crossworlds, unless I'm Sonic Shadow, Metal Sonic Blaze, or for some reason Ichiban Kasuga, races will seldom go my way. Maybe that's what suits my playstyle, or perhaps it's a testament to more genuine variety between racer stats in Crossworlds. Or it could be that some characters are just better to play as than others across the board. I don't know. Like I said, when you find what works for you, it's great. The boat controls are a bit naff at times though. What's also good is that this game keeps me coming back to it months after its release. I mean, it's the start of 2026 at the time of recording this, 3.5 months after launch, and I'm still enjoying dipping into it for some online races. It's my side game while I play other single-player titles. And from what I can tell, with the addition of new courses, races, and regular online events, this will likely continue to be my side game indefinitely. Overall then, another very strong addition to the Sonic franchise. How things have changed in recent years, eh? As always, let me know your thoughts on Crossworlds, the video, or whatever you want to talk about in the comments below. I always enjoy reading them. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new here and want to check out more of my stuff, but for now I want to conclude by saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.